In the heavy rain, Michael got out of the car and opened an umbrella. He walked over to Alice Smith and shielded her from the rain. Alice's parents had both died in a car accident, leaving her an orphan. Michael was her uncle, but he was an adopted child of the Smith family, so they weren't related by blood. He said to her, "From now on, I'll be your only family." Though Michael had adopted Alice, she knew there was an insurmountable gap between them. Rose was Michael's fiancée, but he treated her coldly because their relationship was purely a business arrangement. He didn't love her. Now, Michael's company was facing a financial crisis, and Rose told him, "If you marry me right away, I'll help you get through this." But he shrugged off her hand and walked away. After Michael returned home, Alice stopped him and asked, "Are you really going to marry Rose?" "Why can't I marry you?" "We're not related by blood." She kissed his neck. He was surprised and pinned her against the wall. He leaned in slowly but suddenly stopped. He loved Alice, but he didn't yet have the strength to protect her. He said to her, "Watch your behavior." Alice looked up at him, both sad and confused. The next day, just as Alice was about to enter Michael's office, Rose deliberately draped her arm around his neck in front of her. Alice's heart broke, and the lunchbox she was holding fell. Michael pushed Rose's hand away and said, "We're only in a business engagement. Don't go too far." Michael tried to stop Alice to explain, but she said, "What identity do you have to stop me, Uncle?" She pulled away from his hand and left. Soon after, Michael and Rose got engaged. The guests were all excited, believing the couple was well-matched. But at that moment, Alice walked into the banquet hall in an elegant gown, stunning everyone with her beauty. Michael was mesmerized. Two male guests whispered mockingly, saying, "Michael is just an illegitimate child from a poor background, not worthy of Rose." Hearing this, Alice walked over and slapped one of them hard across the face. The guest tried to splash champagne on Alice, but Michael stepped in to block it. The guests apologized to him, but he was furious and ordered them to leave. As Michael was showing concern for Alice, Rose walked over and reminded him to attend to the other guests. Just then, James grabbed Alice's hand and said to Michael, "Alice is my girlfriend. You don't need to worry about her." He smiled at Alice, then put his arm around her shoulders and led her away. Michael remembered 2 years ago when Alice, drunk, clung to him tightly. The person with her at that time was James. That day, when they got back home, Alice had wrapped her arms around his neck and said, "From today on, don't treat me like a child anymore." He had gently stroked her hair and couldn't help but smile, wishing that Alice could always stay with him. Now, with James claiming to be her boyfriend, Michael felt a surge of jealousy and crushed the wine glass in his hand. His hand was bleeding, but he no longer felt the pain. James draped a coat over Alice. Though they hadn't seen each other for a year, he still had feelings for her. He confessed his love and asked her to be his girlfriend, leaving Alice stunned. Michael sat alone on the sofa, heartbroken, remembering the scene of James holding Alice. When Alice returned home, he only said, "Next time, come back earlier." Alice asked him why he wasn't jealous or concerned about what happened between her and James. But Michael remained cold and distant. Alice cried and told him, "You always push me away. You'll regret it." In the following days, Michael noticed Alice and James meeting more frequently. Alice knew Michael was following her, so she gladly accepted the gifts from James, which made Michael feel more jealous. Rose told Michael, "You and Alice can never be together. She'll marry and have children with another man in the future." Her words angered Michael, and he angrily grabbed her by the neck, warning her never to speak like that again. That night, Michael was drunk. He grabbed Alice's hand, leaned in close to her, and slammed his palm on the table, forbidding her from going out to meet James. A few days later, Rose lied, claiming she had an urgent matter, and tricked Michael into a hotel room. But when he entered, he saw rose petals scattered all over the floor. Rose told him it was her birthday and asked him to drink some red wine. After taking a sip, he wanted to leave immediately, but he felt dizzy and passed out. It turned out that Rose had spiked his drink with an aphrodisiac. Struggling to control himself, Michael stumbled home, rushed to the bathroom, and splashed cold water on himself. Alice rushed into the bathroom to check on him. He grabbed her hand and couldn't resist kissing her. But he quickly stopped, not wanting to scare her. The next day, Michael apologized to Alice. They stood separated by the door, both deeply in love, but too afraid to confess. At a banquet, Alice was publicly humiliated by Rose. Alice retorted, "Michael will never like someone like you. Stop dreaming." Enraged, Rose threw champagne in Alice's face and was about to hit her, but Michael stopped her. He took off his coat and draped it over Alice, then told Rose, "I'm calling off our engagement." Just then, Rose received a call informing her that many of the shareholders from her father's company had secretly sold their shares to Michael, making his stake larger than her father's. In other words, Michael had acquired her father's company. Rose was devastated, and Michael told her, "Whoever dares to harm Alice, I'll repay them tenfold." When they got home, Michael confessed his feelings to Alice, then slowly leaned in and kissed her on the lips. The next day, Michael went on a business trip to discuss a new collaboration and was too busy to answer Alice's calls. Although he wasn't born into the Smith family, he was deeply dedicated to the family's business and loyal to it. He worked through several sleepless nights just to make the project deal happen. After the trip, he returned home, and Alice was still a little mad at him. He hugged her from behind, and she immediately calmed down. From that day on, he became increasingly clingy, even kissing Alice on the forehead in public. When he saw James approaching, he purposely leaned closer to Alice, making James jealous. That night, when Michael got home, he confessed to Alice, "I was indeed jealous. What about you? In your heart, who am I?" She replied, "Uncle." He asked, "Uncle? Does an uncle act like this toward you?" And with that, he kissed her. Then he asked, "So, what do you think our relationship is now?" Alice and Michael officially got together. Before he went to work, Michael gently hugged her and said, "See you tonight." She smiled as she watched him leave. During work, Michael couldn't concentrate. He noticed that Alice kept avoiding him in front of people she knew. For example, in front of their colleagues, she would pull her hand away from his, even pushing him away and pretending not to be familiar with him. Michael suspected that Alice didn't love him enough, so he got upset with her. She apologized and said she just needed some time to adjust. Michael stared at her for a long time, kissed her left cheek, then kissed her right cheek. Alice felt it wasn't enough, so he kissed her again. She was very shy and hugged him tightly. The next day at work, to show off their love, Michael changed his WeChat name to "Michael loves his girlfriend very much." His employees were all excited and began discussing it eagerly. One day, while he was in a video conference, Alice suddenly hugged him and asked where they were going for their date tomorrow. His colleagues saw Alice, and she became flustered and shy, quickly running off. Michael smiled and told his colleagues, "Don't scare my girlfriend. She's timid." He wanted to make their relationship public, but Alice was still hesitant. He told her, "I said I'd give you time to adjust, but now I'm out of patience." He cupped her face, and as she took off his glasses, he immediately pinned her down on the bed. A year later, Alice became a well-known blogger and was invited to attend many banquets. However, as she became more focused on her career, Michael felt neglected. To make it up to him, she canceled several events and said, "Now I just want to spend a few days with my dear husband." Michael finally smiled. He asked Alice if she had time the next day. She wrapped her arms around his neck and answered, "Yes." He said, "Then let's go get our marriage certificate, my wife." They exchanged a smile, and their eyes were overflowing with happiness.